I will not motivate you tonight. I know why you came. You came for fire. You came so that for one evening, you could feel that your life is about to change. And tomorrow morning, that feeling will be gone. And you will need another video, another speech, another dose. Motivation is a drug, and I do not sell drugs. What I will give you instead is something less comfortable and more useful. The truth, and the first truth is this: you are not as free as you think. Not because of governments, because of habits. This morning, before your feet touched the floor, your hand was already reaching for a small glowing screen. Before you had a single thought of your own, you consumed 50 thoughts of strangers. You did not choose this. It was designed this way by people far away, who understand your brain better than you do. So tonight I want to talk about one word: freedom. Not the flag-waving kind, the real kind. The kind you build inside yourself, brick by brick, decision by decision, year by year, until one day nobody on this earth can take it from you. Let me tell you how I learned this. When I was 21 years old, I was a student in St. Petersburg. I had no money, no connections, no office. I had a computer and a stubbornness that my teachers called a character flaw. I built a website for my friends. It grew. Within a few years, it became the largest social network in Europe. Tens of millions of people. Bigger than anything anyone expected from a kid with a laptop. And then one day, powerful men decided they wanted what I had built. They wanted the data of my users. They wanted doors into the private lives of millions of people. They made offers. And when offers didn't work, they made threats. There is a moment in every man's life when he discovers his price. I discovered that I don't have one. I walked away. I left behind the company I had built from nothing. I left behind my country, my city, the street where I grew up. People said, "He lost everything." Let me tell you what actually happened. They took everything they could take and discovered how little that was. Because what I could not lose was here, touches his head, and here, touches his chest. The day I lost everything I owned was the day I understood the difference between possessions and worth. Everything truly valuable in my life, I carried out in one bag, and then I built again. This time, I built it so no one could take it. No offices to seize, no servers within one government's reach, no investors to pressure. A messenger, built by a small team of engineers, that today serves close to 1 billion people. Some of the most powerful governments on earth have tried to block it. It is still standing, because it was built on a principle, not on a balance sheet. Principle scale. Compromises do not. Remember this. The man who cannot be bought cannot be controlled. Everything else in this speech is just details. Now let me speak about you. People ask me for the secret of success. They want a hack, a shortcut, an app. There is no secret. There is only a list of boring decisions, repeated for 20 years. More than 20 years ago, I stopped drinking alcohol, not because of religion, because of mathematics. Alcohol trades tomorrow's clarity for tonight's comfort. It is a bad trade every single time without exception. I do not eat fast food. I do not need caffeine to wake up or pills to sleep. Why am I telling you this? Is this a health lecture? No, it is a freedom lecture. Because your body is the first territory you will ever rule. If you cannot govern your own appetites, what you eat, what you drink, when you sleep, then do not dream of governing companies, markets, or history. A man who is a slave in his own kitchen will be a slave everywhere else. Every morning I begin with cold water, real cold, the kind that makes your entire body scream at you to stop, and I don't stop. You know what the cold teaches you? That the voice in your head that says I can't is a liar. That voice negotiates, it exaggerates, it is afraid of everything. And once you have watched that voice be wrong, 300 mornings in a row, it loses its power over you. Not just in the water, in business, in conflict, in life. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is the price of admission to freedom. Look at any man you call free. Underneath you will find a private discipline nobody applauds, practiced in the dark, for years, with no audience. The world sees the billionaire. It does not see the 20-year-old who said no to 1,000 small things while his friends were saying yes. Freedom is not given by anyone to anyone. No matter how it looks like, you forge freedom by yourself. Now, the harder part. Controlling your body is simple compared to controlling your attention. And attention is where the real war of this century is being fought. Understand the economy you live in. There are companies on this earth worth more than most countries, and their entire business, their entire existence, is to steal your attention and sell it to advertisers. You are not their customer. You are their crop. They farm you. Every notification is a hook. Every infinite scroll is a trap, designed by thousands of engineers whose only job is to make sure you never look up. And they are winning. The average person now gives 4, 5, 6 hours of every day, of their one and only life, to feed a machine that gives them nothing in return except anxiety and comparison. Let me ask you something. If a stranger walked into your house every morning and read you the opinions of 200 angry people before you had breakfast, you would throw him out. Yet you open the door yourself every morning, before your feet touch the floor. It is called checking your phone. Here is a rule that changed my life. No news, no messages, no feeds in the first hours of the day. The morning belongs to me, I think. I walk, I plan, I let silence do its work. The first thoughts of your day must be yours. Everything after that is negotiation. But the morning is sovereign territory. Defend it like a country. And one more thing, you have forgotten how to be bored. You cannot sit alone in a room for 10 minutes without reaching for a screen. And yet, boredom is the birthplace of every great idea. The best ideas of my life did not arrive while I was consuming. They arrived while I was walking alone, in silence, with nothing to look at. Your mind is a factory, but you keep the machine switched off because you are too busy looking through the window at other people's factories. Protect your boredom. Guard your silence. That is where everything you will ever build is currently hiding. The human race is quietly dividing itself into two species. The first species consumes. They scroll, they watch, they react, they comment. They know everything about the lives of strangers and nothing about the machinery of their own lives. At the end of each day, they have produced nothing. They are the product the second species creates. They write, they code, they design, they build, they sell. When they open a tool, the tool serves them, not the other way around. Here is the uncomfortable question of the evening. Which species are you? Do not answer out loud. Your browser history already knows. Many of you demand freedom from your job, from your circumstances, from people who hold you back. Fine. But have you built the skill that makes freedom possible? Freedom without competence is just unemployment with better branding. So learn to build something. Anything. Code, write, design, sell. Pick one skill and go 10 years deep, while everyone around you goes 10 days deep into 1,000 distractions. The internet gave every one of you a workshop that the kings of history did not have. A child in a village with a phone today has more leverage than a pharaoh. And what do we do with this miracle? We use it to watch other people live. And when you build something of your own, something people need, a strange thing happens. You own your mornings. You own your decisions. You become, in the eyes of everyone who profits from your dependence, dangerous. That is the goal. Become dangerous. Quietly. Let me speak about money, because that is what many of you actually came for. I know money. I have been offered billions for what I have built. I have said no repeatedly to sums you would need a minute just to count the zeros of. People call this madness. I call it understanding, because the moment you sell, you are no longer building for the mission. You are building for the buyer. Your dream becomes a line in someone else's quarterly report. No thank you. Money is fuel. Fuel is not the destination. You do not spend your whole life driving toward a gas station. And here is something the rich know and the poor are never taught. The truly wealthy are not those who have the most. The truly wealthy are those who need the least and cannot be bought at any price. I own almost nothing. No house. No yachts with my name on them. My life fits into my life, not into storage units and garages. Some people think this is strange. Let me explain the strategy. When you own nothing, you cannot be threatened with the loss of things. This is not poverty. This is armor. Every dollar, every rupee that you don't spend on impressing strangers is a piece of your freedom you get to keep. The man with the expensive car and the empty savings account is not rich. He is a hostage with good leather seats. Earn like an owner. Spend like a monk. Invest the difference in your own skills and your own creations. That is the entire formula. It fits in one breath. It takes a decade to live. I am asked constantly, aren't you afraid? Afraid of governments, afraid of competitors, afraid of failure. Let me teach you a trick I use. When fear appears, do not run from it. Do the opposite. Run through it, all the way to the end. Ask, what is the absolute worst case? You lose money? Money returns. It always returns to people who know how to make it. You lose status? Status is other people's imagination. You cannot lose what was never yours. They lock you in a room? I have been detained and interrogated by powerful people in powerful countries, and I noticed something interesting sitting in that room. Walls can hold a body. They have never held an idea. And beyond that, I have already lost everything once. My company, my country, my home. And I rebuilt from zero in exile better than before. A man who has survived his own worst case is a very difficult man to threaten. So run your fear to the end of the road. You will usually find, standing there, a problem much smaller than the monster in your head. Fear is a contract you sign with the future, paying interest every day on a disaster that may never arrive. Refuse to sign. The final disease of this generation is impatience. Everyone wants it now. Success in a year, wealth by 30, millions of followers by next Tuesday. And when it doesn't arrive, they quit and start a new thing and quit that too. And call the years wasted when really, nothing was ever given enough time to grow. Here is the mathematics nobody teaches you. People wildly overestimate what they can do in 1 year, and they catastrophically underestimate what they can do in 10. I have been building the same thing for over a decade. Same mission, same product, same refusal to compromise, while trend after trend rose and died around me. Effort, like money, compounds, but only if you don't keep withdrawing it. In a world where everyone is impatient, patience is a superpower. When the whole room is panicking, the calm man owns the room. When everyone is sprinting from thing to thing, the man walking in one straight line passes them all. If you are 20 years old, you possess the greatest asset in this hall. Time. And most of you are spending it on entertainment. Just imagine what happens to the young man who invests it instead. 10 years, one direction. No audience, no applause, no quitting. By 30, he will be called an overnight success. Let them call it that. Last thing. Then I will go. Most of what you believe, you never decided. You absorbed it from school, from screens, from the crowd around you. Your opinions were installed in you like software, and you defend them fiercely as if they were yours. That is the trick. The best cage is the one the prisoner calls home. Original thinking is the last rebellion, and yes, it has a cost. If you genuinely think for yourself, you will be misunderstood. You will be called strange, arrogant, difficult. I have been called worse, in several languages, by entire governments. Being misunderstood is simply the tax on being early. Every important idea in history was called insane first. If everyone in the room agrees with you, you are not wise. You are just late. I told you at the beginning that I would not motivate you. I have kept my promise. I have given you no fire. I have given you a mirror. So here is my only request tonight. When you leave this hall, do not post about this speech. Do not share quotes. Do not turn it into content and consume it like everything else. Instead, tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, do one hard thing. One, the thing your excuses have been blocking for a year. Then do it again the next day. And the day after that. Freedom is not given on stages. It is built in silence. One disciplined morning at a time, by people nobody is watching. You were not born to be a battery in someone else's machine. You were born to build. Let us go back to December 2011. St. Petersburg. It is winter. The air in that city during December does not just freeze your skin. It settles into your bones. It is a gray, heavy cold that reminds you every day of the sheer scale of the land you are standing on. I was 27 years old. My company, V-Contact, had become a phenomenon. We had surpassed every competitor. We were the digital town square of an entire empire. If you wanted to know what people were thinking, what they were feeling, what they were planning, you did not look at the newspapers. You looked at VK, and then the world outside began to shake. Politicians were arguing. People were angry. Tens of thousands of citizens began using my platform to organize protests, to voice their dissent, to demand change. To the men who lived in the Kremlin, this was not social networking. This was a threat. One evening, I heard a sound outside the door of my apartment building. I looked through the window. There were armed men in tactical gear standing on the snow-covered pavement. Men with automatic weapons, helmets, and masks. The Omen, the Special Forces. They were there because I had refused a direct order from the security services to shut down the groups of the opposition politicians on VKI. Stood in my hallway, looking at that heavy wooden door. I want you to place yourself in that hallway for a moment. You are 27. You have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. You have a beautiful apartment in the heart of one of the most historic cities in the world. You have power, status, and a future that looks incredibly bright, provided you do one simple thing: say yes. All they wanted was a button pressed, a few lines of code changed, a few databases handed over. If I did that, the men outside would get back into their vans and drive away. I would be invited to dinners. I would be praised as a responsible business leader. My wealth would be protected. My safety would be guaranteed. But I knew something that night that many people spend their whole lives trying to avoid learning. I knew that if I opened that door and gave them what they wanted, I would no longer own my life. I would become an employee of their fear. The apartment, the money, the status. They would no longer be my achievements. They would be my leash. I did not open the door. Instead, I took out my phone. I wanted to call my brother Nikolai. Nikolai is a genius, a mathematician, a programmer, a man who sees the universe in terms of algorithms and structures. I wanted to tell him what was happening. But as my finger hovered over the screen, I stopped. I realized that every single network in my country was compromised. The phone calls, the text messages, the emails. Everything went through servers that were monitored by the very state whose armed men were standing outside my building. I had no secure way to communicate with my own brother. No way to send a single sentence that was guaranteed to be private. That night, the seed of Telegram was planted, not in a boardroom, not during a brainstorming session with venture capitalists. It was born out of a realization of complete vulnerability. Eventually, the armed men left. They did not break the door down that night, not yet, but the message had been delivered. The pressure did not stop. It grew every day. Letters arrived. Officials called. The board of directors of my company, men who had been bought or pressured by state-aligned conglomerates, began to squeeze me out. They offered me a choice: sell your remaining shares, step down as CEO, and leave quietly, or watch us dismantle everything you have built, piece by piece, while you watch from a prison cell. So I sold. I sold my shares for hundreds of millions of dollars. I packed a single suitcase. I went to the airport, bought a one-way ticket, and walked away from the country of my birth. People often ask me, how did it feel to lose your home? I will tell you the truth. It felt like weightlessness. For the first time in my adult life, I had no physical anchors. I had no real estate that could be seized. I had no office building that could be raided. I had no domestic bank accounts that could be frozen. I had become what the ancient philosophers called a cosmopolite, a citizen of the world. But more importantly, I had preserved my sovereignty. Sovereignty is a word we do not use enough today. We talk about success, we talk about wealth, we talk about fame. But sovereignty is different. Sovereignty means that your decisions are made by you, and only by you. It means that there is no person, no corporation, no government on this earth that can force you to act against your own principles. You cannot buy sovereignty with money. In fact, most people use money to buy themselves out of sovereignty. They buy big houses with massive mortgages that require them to keep working jobs they hate. They buy expensive lifestyles that make them dependent on the approval of their employers, their clients, or their social circles. They buy stuff that owns them far more than they own it. Every asset you acquire is a potential hostage. If you own a factory in a country, that country's government owns a piece of your mind. If you own a luxury villa in a specific city, that city's mayor has leverage over you. If you have your wealth tied up in traditional banking systems, the clerks of those banks have the power to reduce your life to zero with the stroke of a pen. This is why I chose a different path. When I left Russia, I did not buy a mansion in London or a penthouse in New York. I lived out of hotels. I moved from city to city: Berlin, London, Singapore, San Francisco, Dubai, staying for a few months, working with my small team of engineers, and moving on. We did not have a headquarters. We did not have a country we called home. We were digital nomads before the term became a fashion trend. We built our office in the cloud. And because we were nowhere, we were everywhere. Let us talk about how you build something that cannot be destroyed. When we decided to build Telegram, we did not look at what other tech companies were doing. Other companies were building for engagement. They were building for advertising revenue. They were building platforms designed to keep you clicking, liking, and sharing, so they could collect your data and sell it. We built for resistance. My brother Nikolai designed a completely new encryption protocol. We called it MT Proto. It was designed to be incredibly fast, incredibly secure, and capable of operating even on the weakest mobile networks in the world. We did not set up servers in one country. We distributed our infrastructure across multiple jurisdictions. Think about the architecture of this design. If a government in Europe wants to force us to hand over user data, they cannot just send a police officer to our office. We don't have one. If they send a court order, they discover that the data they want is split into multiple parts, encrypted, and stored in servers located in 3 or 4 different countries under different legal systems to get the key to decrypt that data. Those different governments would have to agree to work together. A diplomatic impossibility in the world we live in. This was not an accident. This was engineering. We designed the system to protect us from our own human weaknesses. Every founder of a company eventually faces a moment of immense pressure. A government official threatens your family. A regulator threatens to shut down your app in a market of 80 million people. An investor threatens to sue you for breach of fiduciary duty. If you are a human being, you feel fear. You feel the temptation to compromise. Just this once, you tell yourself. Just this one user. Just this one group. It is for the greater good. But once you make that first compromise, you are done. The floodgates are open. The next request will be easier to make and harder to refuse. So we took the power to compromise out of our own hands. By distributing the keys and the servers across the globe, we made it physically and legally impossible for any single member of our team, including myself, to give in to pressure from any single nation. We engineered our own courage. This is what I mean when I talk about building yourself first. You cannot rely on your willpower alone to save you when the storm arrives. Your willpower is weak. It is affected by how much sleep you had, what you ate, whether you are lonely, whether you are afraid. You must build systems in your life that protect you from your own weakness. If you want to stop wasting your time on social media, do not rely on your self-control. Self-control is a finite resource that runs out by 6 p.m. Instead, delete the apps. Put your phone in a locker in another room. Change your passwords to random strings of characters and give the key to a friend. Make the barrier to your bad habits so high that your lazy brain gives up before it even starts. If you want to build a business that survives economic downturns, do not rely on hope. Build a business with zero debt, low overheads, and a product that people actually pay for, not one that relies on the charity of venture capitalists who will disappear the moment the interest rates rise. Minimization is not just an aesthetic choice. It is a security strategy. Look at my life. I do not have assistants. I do not have a security detail of 50 men. I do not have a fleet of sports cars. I make my own decisions. I book my own travel. I manage my own time. Why? Because every person you add to your life is a potential vector of complication. Every asset you acquire is a potential vulnerability. The more you own, the more you are owned. We live in an era of spectacular noise. Never in human history have so many people had the power to express their opinions, and never has those opinions mattered so little. If you open any social media platform today, you will see a massive roaring ocean of voices. Everyone is shouting. Everyone is outraged. Everyone is pointing fingers at someone else. Everyone is demanding that you take a side, that you join their tribe, that you wear their badge, that you share their hashtag. This is a trap. It is designed to keep you in a state of perpetual emotional reactivity, because when you are reacting, you are not thinking. When you are outraged, you are not planning. When you are arguing with a stranger online about something that happened 5,000 miles away, you are not building your own life. You are donating your energy to a theater of distractions. Let me tell you a story about the crowd. In 2012, when Vcontacte was at the peak of its growth, my team and I decided to do a small experiment. We wanted to see how the crowd reacts to the sudden appearance of unearned wealth. We made paper airplanes out of 5 0-ruble banknotes, which was a significant amount of money at the time, about $150 per note. We opened the window of our office in the historic Singer House, in the center of St. Petersburg, and we launched these paper planes into the street below. What do you think happened? Did people look up, smile, and thank the universe for a moment of magic? No. Within minutes, a riot broke out. People began pushing each other. They fought. They tore the money out of each other's hands. Men in expensive suits were rolling on the pavement, wrestling with students over a piece of paper. The crowd turned into an animal, violent, ugly, and completely devoid of dignity. I watched from the window. I did not laugh. I felt a deep, profound sadness. I realized that the thin veneer of civilization we boast about is incredibly fragile. Underneath the polite smiles and the social conventions, most people are driven by raw, uncultivated impulses, greed, fear, envy, and the desire to dominate their neighbors. And the systems we have built today, the feeds, the algorithms, the notification engines, are designed to exploit those exact impulses 24 hours a day. They want you to be the man rolling on the pavement, fighting for a scrap of attention, a scrap of validation, a scrap of digital currency. You must refuse to play. You must step away from the window. You must close the feed. You must look at the crowd and say, your outrage is not my outrage. Your urgency is not my urgency. Your battles are not my battles. This does not mean you become selfish. It means you become effective. You cannot help the world if you are drowning in its noise. You cannot build a sanctuary for others if your own house is built on sand. The greatest contribution you can make to your family, to your community, and to this planet is to become a sovereign, functional, disciplined individual who cannot be manipulated by the currents of public opinion. Be the lighthouse, not the wave. The lighthouse does not run around the beach looking for boats to save. It does not shout into the wind. It does not argue with the storm. It simply stands there, solid, silent, and burning with a steady, unquenchable light. And because it stands, the boats find their own way home. Let us talk about physical reality. Many of you live in a world of complete thermal comfort. Your homes are kept at precisely 22 degrees Celsius. Your offices are air-conditioned. Your cars are heated. If you feel a slight chill, you put on a sweater. If you feel warm, you turn on a fan. You have banished discomfort from your daily existence, and in doing so, you have made yourselves incredibly weak. The human body did not evolve in a climate-controlled box. For 300,000 years, your ancestors survived ice ages, droughts, monsoons, and winters that would kill a modern city dweller in 12 hours. Their bodies were designed to adapt, to react, to find strength in resistance. When you remove all physical stress from your life, your biological systems begin to decay. Your immune system becomes lazy. Your metabolism slows down. Your vascular system loses its elasticity. But more importantly, your mind becomes soft. If your day is ruined because your coffee was lukewarm or your Uber was 5 minutes late, how do you expect to survive the brutal, unpredictable realities of building a business, navigating a crisis, or facing an adversary? This is why for many years I have practiced the discipline of cold water. Every single day, regardless of where I am in the world, whether I am in Dubai, where the summer temperature reaches 50 degrees, or in Northern Europe, where the lakes are covered in ice, I submerge my body in cold water. I do not do this because it is pleasant. It is never pleasant. Every single time I stand before that cold tub, my brain gives me 50 logical reasons why I should not do it today. You are tired, it says. You have a cold. You have an important meeting. You did it yesterday. You don't need to do it today. And every single time I ignore that voice, I step into the water. My chest tightens. My breath catches in my throat. My nervous system fires a red alert to my brain. Danger, survival threat, get out, and I stay there. I breathe. I slow my heart rate down. I look at the discomfort and I realize that it is just a signal. It is not reality. It is just my body's interpretation of reality. After 3 minutes, I step out. And for the rest of that day, there is nothing that can happen in my business, in my legal battles, or in my personal life that can match the intensity of that first physical shock. The problems that would have made me anxious at 9 a.m. now look small, manageable, and distant. You see, the cold is an alchemist. It takes your fear, your hesitation, your self-pity, and it burns them away, leaving behind only the clean, hard steel of your resolve. I challenge you to try this. Not for a week. For a year, stop taking warm showers. Stop wrapping yourself in layers of comfort. Let yourself feel the cold. Let your body remember what it feels like to struggle against its environment and win. And it is not just about the cold. It is about fasting. Most of you eat far too much. You eat because you are bored. You eat because you are sad. You eat because the clock says it is 1 p.m. Your digestive system never stops working. It is like an engine that is run at full throttle, 24 hours a day, without ever being turned off for maintenance. Every year I go through periods of complete fasting. Sometimes for 3 days, sometimes for 7 days. Sometimes I consume nothing but water for weeks. People tell me, this is dangerous. You will lose muscle. You will lose energy. The opposite is true. During a fast, my mind becomes incredibly clear. My focus sharpens to a razor's edge. My body, freed from the massive energy cost of digestion, begins to clean itself. It burns away the damaged cells, the old proteins, the waste products of years of consumption. It is called autophagy. It is the body's internal recycling program. And the psychological benefit is even greater. When you have not eaten for 5 days, you realize something profound. You do not need nearly as much as you thought you did to survive. Most of your desires are not needs. They are addictions. You do not need that snack. You do not need that drink. You do not need that purchase. You have simply been trained to want them, like a dog waiting for a bell to ring. When you break those addictions through deliberate, self-imposed deprivation, you reclaim your power. You become independent of your appetites. A man who can go 3 days without food and cold shower his way through winter cannot be starved out, cannot be intimidated, and cannot be bribed with luxury. He is, by definition, uncontrollable. Let us speak about the future of human organization. For the past 300 years, we have lived under the illusion of the nation-state. We have been taught to believe that our primary identity is defined by the passport we hold, the borders we live within, and the governments we elect. This model is dying. It was built for an industrial age, an age of physical factories, coal mines, and conscript armies. It was an age when wealth was heavy, slow, and easy to tax. If you owned a steel mill in 1920, you could not pack it up and move it to Switzerland because the tax rates changed. You were a prisoner of your geography. Today, the most valuable assets on this planet are digital. They are lines of code. They are cryptographic keys. They are neural networks. They are databases. They are the ideas inside your head. You cannot tax an idea at a border. You cannot seize a cryptographic key with a customs officer, provided the owner of that key has the courage to keep his mouth shut. The modern nation-state is realizing this, and they are terrified. They are watching their power slip away. They are watching their currencies be bypassed by decentralized protocols. They are watching their monopoly on information be shattered by platforms like Telegram. They are watching their citizens become global actors who can work, earn, and live anywhere they choose. And how do they react? They react the only way an aging, dying institution knows how to react, with force. They pass laws to monitor your private messages. They demand backdoors into encryption algorithms. They threaten tech founders with arrest. They invent crises, financial crises, health crises, security crises, to justify the constant, creeping expansion of their surveillance apparatus. They tell you they are doing it to protect you. Do not believe them. They do not want to protect you. They want to predict you, because if they can predict you, they can control you. If they know what you are going to buy before you buy it, if they know who you are going to vote for before you vote, if they know what makes you angry and what makes you afraid, then they can manage you like cattle on a digital farm. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is the business model of modern surveillance capitalism, operated in partnership with desperate governments. But they have a vulnerability. Their systems are centralized. They rely on single points of failure. They rely on major data centers, on massive financial institutions, on global standards that they can dictate from a few offices in Washington, Brussels, or Beijing. and the antidote to centralization is decentralization. This is why the development of blockchain technology, of peer-to-peer protocols, and of end-to-end encrypted communication is the most important political struggle of our generation. It is not about speculation. It is not about making money on dog-themed tokens. It is about building a parallel digital infrastructure that does not care about borders, does not answer to central banks, and cannot be shut down by any executive order. You must become a citizen of this parallel infrastructure. You must learn how to protect your digital identity. You must learn how to encrypt your communications. You must learn how to hold your wealth in assets that cannot be inflated away by governments, printing trillions of dollars to pay for their own incompetence. Do not wait for some savior to arrive and fight this battle for you. There is no hero coming. There is only you, your keyboard, your choices, and the systems you choose to support. Every time you choose a centralized service that sells your data over a decentralized alternative that protects your privacy, you are voting for your own enslavement. Every time you choose the convenience of a government-backed digital currency over the sovereignty of decentralized assets, you are building your own cage. Choose sovereignty, even when it is difficult, even when it is less convenient, even when it costs you more. The price of convenience is always freedom. I want to talk to those of you who are young, or those of you who still have the energy of youth inside your chest. You look at the world today, and you feel a sense of despair. You see the rising cost of living, the instability of markets, the corruption of politics, the decline of culture. You feel like you were born too late, that the great discoveries have already been made, the great fortunes have already been built, and the great empires have already been established. You feel like you are just a spectator in a movie that was written by someone else. You are wrong. The world you see around you, the institutions, the rules, the corporations, the social structures is not permanent. It is made of paper. It looks like stone, but it is actually just dried mud. It survives only because everyone agrees to pretend that it is solid. The moment a generation stops believing in these structures, they begin to crumble, and they are crumbling right now. We are entering a period of massive, historic transition. The next 20 years will see the collapse of old systems and the birth of new ones, at a speed that has never been seen in human history. This is not a time for despair. This is a time for execution. But to build the new world, you must first build the person who is capable of building it. You cannot plant a great tree in toxic, exhausted soil. You must prepare the ground, and the ground is your daily life. Look at your habits. Look at the people you spend your time with. Look at the content you consume. Are they building your sovereignty, or are they draining your battery? If you spend your evenings drinking with people who complain about their jobs, you are poisoning your soil. If you spend your nights scrolling through feeds that make you feel envious of other people's fake lives, you are throwing salt on your own fields. Cut them off. Be ruthless with your environment. You do not owe anyone your time. You do not owe anyone your attention. You do not owe anyone your energy, except those who are actively helping you build the life you have chosen. Find your tribe, not a massive online community of strangers. Find 3, 4, or 5 people who share your values, your discipline, and your obsession with growth. People who do not comfort you when you fail, but who challenge you to do better. A small, aligned team of sovereign individuals can achieve things that massive bloated organizations cannot even comprehend. Look at Telegram. We serve close to 1 billion users. We handle petabytes of data every single second. We fight legal battles against some of the most powerful nations on Earth. Do you know how many engineers we have in our core team? Less than 30. Not 30,000. Not 3,000. 30. A small group of highly disciplined, exceptionally talented individuals working in absolute alignment, without meetings, without bureaucracy, without corporate politics, can outperform an army of 10,000 employees at a legacy tech giant. Leverage is the magic word of the 21st century. You do not need a massive factory. You do not need thousands of staff. You need a lever that is long enough and a place to stand, and that lever is technology. Learn how to write code. Even if you do not want to be a professional programmer, you must understand how software works. Software is the language of the modern world. If you do not understand software, you are like a medieval peasant who could not read the Latin Bible. You are entirely dependent on the priests to tell you what the world looks like. Learn how to write clearly. In a world of short attention spans and fragmented thoughts, the person who can write a persuasive, logical, and structured argument is a magician. He can move minds. He can raise capital. He can build alliances, learn how to speak to the point. No fluff, no corporate buzzwords, no excuses. Speak with the authority of someone who has actually done the work. And once you have built these skills, stay in one place long enough to let them work. We live in a culture that has lost its relationship with time. We plan for the next quarter. We plan for the next launch. We plan for the next weekend. We have forgotten how to think in terms of decades, let alone generations. When I started building vContacti, I did not expect to be successful in 6 months. I was prepared to spend my entire 20s working in a small room, eating cheap food, and writing code until my eyes bled. When we started Telegram, we knew it would be a multi-decade struggle. We knew we would face blocks, bans, media campaigns, and legal threats. We factored all of that into our design. We did not build a business. We built a campaign. If you are building something that can be finished in a year, it is not big enough. If you are chasing a goal that does not terrify you with its scale, it is not worthy of your life. You must develop what I call a 70-year strategy. Ask yourself, what am I building that will outlive me? What am I doing today that my grandchildren will look at and say, this is where our freedom began? If you do not have an answer to that question, you are still playing the short game. You are still chasing the dopamine of the present moment. The short game is easy. It is comfortable. It has many applause meters, but it ends in nothing. At the end of your life, you will look back and realize that you spent your days reacting to other people's agendas, consuming other people's products, and living in other people's systems. The long game is lonely. It means years of working in the dark, with no audience, no investors, and no guarantee of success. It means being called crazy by your family, arrogant by your peers, and dangerous by your government. But it is the only game that matters. I want to leave you with one final thought. There is an old story about a king who wanted to test the wisdom of his citizens. He placed a massive boulder in the middle of the main road leading into the city. Then, he hid in the bushes to see who would remove it. The rich merchants came by. They looked at the rock, complained about the government's lack of road maintenance, and walked around it. The politicians came by. They stood near the rock, made speeches about the importance of infrastructure, blamed their opponents for the obstacle, and walked around it. Then a poor peasant came along, carrying a heavy load of vegetables. He saw the boulder. He did not complain. He did not make a speech. He set down his load, walked to the rock, and began to push. He strained. He sweated. He broke his fingernails on the rough stone. He pushed with everything he had, millimeter by millimeter, until the heavy boulder finally rolled off the road into the ditch. And there, in the place where the boulder had been, he found a small leather bag. He opened it. Inside were gold coins and a letter from the king. The letter said, "The obstacle in the path is the path. Every difficulty you are facing today, the limitations of your environment, the lack of capital, the pressure of your circumstances, the fear of failure, is not an obstacle to your freedom. It is the raw material out of which your freedom must be forged. Do not pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to survive a brutal one, and the wisdom to build something that cannot be broken. You have the tools, you have the access. You have the time. Stop consuming, start building. Thank you."